I'm 78 years old, and I stopped touching my wife. That's the brutal truth. From the outside, we were the perfect retired couple. Everyone said we had the kind of marriage after 60 you hope for. But inside, a slow, cold loneliness was killing us. We were growing apart in the same house. I lived with a deep regret every single day, a quiet grief. I thought I was protecting her. I was wrong. I was protecting my own pride, and it almost cost me everything. It almost cost me her. You see, I confused physical intimacy with being a strong protector. And when my body started to fail, I shut down. I retreated. I let the silence build a wall between us. I made us age alone, together. That is my life regret. The danger isn't just the lack of sex. It's the death of all touch, all comfort. It's the unspoken fear that your failing body makes you unworthy of love. I let that fear steal years from us. I was so afraid of being seen as weak that I made us both emotionally stranded. Stay with me. I need to tell you exactly how a quiet marriage becomes a lonely one and how we barely found our way back. I sat on our porch swing, the chains creaking a familiar song. Eleanor was beside me, her head on my shoulder. We just finished our evening walk, still holding hands like always. You see, we were that couple, the ones people smiled at. Our life was crossword puzzles and her rose garden. It was quiet, but it was ours. I thought the physical part of us was just like that swing, slower but still moving. A banked fire. I was a fool. It started on a Tuesday. A sharp cry from the bedroom, Eleanor's leg cramp. I threw back the covers, my heart hammering, but my knees, they locked. A stupid, agonizing delay. I stumbled, trying to get to her, and we both ended up on the floor. I was holding her, but it was all wrong. I saw it in her eyes, a flicker, not blame, fear. Fear that I couldn't help her, that I was weak. After that, I retreated. I hid in my workshop. She buried herself in books. We talked about the weather, the grocery list. The space in our bed got wider and colder. I told myself I was sparing her. Honestly, I was just scared. Then, one morning, she passed me the newspaper. Our fingers didn't touch, not even a brush. I sat there, eating my toast. The crunch was so loud, and I counted. 93 days. No kiss, no hug, nothing. We were just ghosts. I was sanding a birdhouse when I saw her. A splash of color by the roses that wasn't right. Eleanor, on the ground. I ran. God, I ran. Dropping to my knees, my voice broke. Eleanor, are you okay? She was so calm. It chilled me. I've been here a while, she whispered. I didn't want to shout. The ambulance ride was a blur. I held her hand because it was allowed now. Hers was limp. In the hospital, a young nurse was so kind. She adjusted Eleanor's gown, smoothed her blanket, and I felt this rage, this jealousy. This stranger could touch my wife, and I couldn't. My hands were useless. I gripped the bed rail. I couldn't hold it in. I thought if I couldn't be strong for you, I said, my voice cracking. I was nothing. The words hung there. Eleanor looked at me, tears in her eyes. Arthur, she whispered, I just needed you to be here with me, not away from me. We'd both been so alone. We cried for a long time in that hospital room. Just held hands and cried. It was messy, but it was real. The nurse came in, saw us, and just backed out quietly. We made a promise then, right there, a simple one. When we got home, we would just try to be there. The drive home was quiet but different. I reached over and put my hand on hers on the console. She didn't pull away. She turned her palm up and laced her fingers with mine. It felt strange, good strange. like remembering a word you'd forgotten. Home felt different too. The house was the same, but we weren't. We were two people who'd seen a cliff edge. That first night back, that was hard. We got ready for bed like usual, separate bathrooms. I got in on my side. She got in on hers. The space between us felt wider than ever, now that we'd promised to cross it. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. My heart was pounding. Honestly, it felt scarier than the hospital. Then I made a choice. I didn't think about it. If I thought, I'd have frozen again. I just rolled over. My arm felt like it weighed 100 pounds. I put it over her. I pulled her gently back into me, the way I used to. She fit into the curve of my body, just like always. And she broke. A shuddering sob she tried to muffle against my arm. I held her tighter. I whispered, "I'm here." That was all. We fell asleep like that. It wasn't magic. The next morning was awkward. We were shy with each other, but we had a plan. A stupid, simple plan. Hold each other for 5 minutes every night, no matter what. The real test came with her physical therapy. Her hip was bruised from the fall. Driving her there, I was tense. I kept my hand on her knee. She put her hand over mine. During the session, it was hard to watch. She was in pain. The therapist had her doing these small, cruel-looking movements. Eleanor's face was pale. I asked if I could sit closer. I sat right beside the table. When she had to do a particularly hard one, she reached out blindly and grabbed my hand. She squeezed so hard my knuckles cracked. She put her head on my shoulder, her breath hot against my neck. It wasn't romantic. It was raw. It was two old bodies hurting, but we were in it together. That became our new language. Small touches, deliberate. My hand on the small of her back when she stood up. Her fingers brushing my wrist when she passed me the tea. We had to think about it at first. It felt clumsy, like learning to walk again. And then, about a week in, we were on the porch swing. The sun was setting. She was telling me about her book. Without thinking, I reached out and pushed a strand of gray hair behind her ear. My fingers lingered on her cheek. She stopped talking. She looked at me, not with fear, not with pity. She looked at me like I was still her author, and she leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't a passionate kiss. It was soft and slow, and it tasted like tears, but it was a kiss, the first one in over a year. That's when I really understood. The wall we'd built wasn't just about sex. It was about everything. We'd locked the door and thrown away the key because we were afraid to be seen as weak. But the truth is, we were weakest when we were alone in the same room. The danger wasn't the lack of sex. The danger was the quiet. That thick, heavy quiet where you stop being lovers, stop being friends, and just become two ghosts sharing a space. The danger wasn't the lack of sex. The danger was the quiet. That thick, heavy quiet, where you stop being lovers, stop being friends, and just become two ghosts sharing a space. And I was the one who built it. That's the breaking point. I built it with my own 2 hands, thinking I was making a fortress, when really, I was just digging our grave. It all came apart in the kitchen, 3 days after the hospital. Eleanor was making tea. She moved slowly, her hips still sore. She reached for a mug on a high shelf. I saw her wince. Instinct should have made me jump up. Old instinct. New instinct was to freeze, to not draw attention to my own stiffness. So I just watched. Her fingers fumbled. The mug fell. It hit the tile and exploded. Blue shards everywhere. She just stood there, staring at the mess. And then she started to cry. Not a sob, a silent, broken weeping that shook her whole body. She didn't move, afraid of the ceramic. I got up. I went to her. I didn't know what to do. I put my hands on her shoulders. She flinched. She actually flinched. And she said it. Her voice was flat, dead. Don't. Just don't. You'll just make it worse. That's when I realized what I'd done. It wasn't the mug. It was me. I had made everything worse. I sat her down at the table. I got the broom. I swept it all up, every single shard. My hands were shaking. I was wrong about everything. I thought I was protecting her by hiding my weakness, but I wasn't protecting her. I was abandoning her. I made her feel alone. I made her feel like a burden. I made her think I found her broken. The cost was right there in her eyes. The trust was gone. The easy comfort we'd had for 50 years, gone. You can't get that back. Not all of it. Some things, once broken, stay cracked. I remember one specific memory, sharp as those ceramic shards. It was our 40th anniversary. We'd gone to the coast. A storm blew in. We got caught in the rain, laughing, running back to the car. We were soaked. In the hotel room, she was shivering. I got a big towel and rubbed her arms, her back, her hair dry. She leaned into me, smiling. My hero, she'd said, teasing. But she meant it. I felt like one. That was the man I thought I had to keep being, the strong one, the fixer. But that man was gone. And instead of becoming something new with her, I just vanished. After the mug, I didn't go to my workshop. I sat at the kitchen table. She'd gone to the living room. The house was so quiet. It was the quiet of a tomb. I thought about the hospital promise, to try. And I knew trying wasn't about grand gestures. It was about the next 5 minutes. So I got up. I walked into the living room. She was in her chair, a book open in her lap, but she wasn't reading. She was just staring out the window. I didn't know what to say. All the words were wrong. So I just got down on the floor, right there on the rug. My knees screamed. I didn't care. I put my head in her lap, like a child. I didn't look at her. I just lay there. I felt her go stiff. Then, after a lifetime, her hand came down. It rested on my head. Her fingers touched my hair. Then they began to move, slowly, stroking, like she used to. I started to cry. I couldn't stop. She cried too. We didn't say a word. That was the first sign, the first crack. I wasn't her hero on the floor. I was just a tired, scared old man, and she was still there. Her hand on my head was the only thing in the world that was real. Her hand on my head was the only thing in the world that was real. That's when I understood. I was wrong about everything. I thought love was a performance, a series of feats of strength, carrying the groceries, fixing the leaky faucet, being the one she could lean on without question. When my body started to betray me, the knees that locked, the back that ached, I thought the performance was over, so I left the stage. I retreated into silence, thinking I was sparing her the sight of my weakness. What I should have done was stay. What I should have done was let her see me fumble. Because the performance wasn't what she needed. She just needed the actor, me, present, flawed and frightened. Looking back now, the brutal reason we stopped wasn't age or biology. It was pride. My stupid, fragile male pride. I confused intimacy with capability. I thought if I couldn't be her protector in the old way, I had no right to be her lover. So I took everything off the table, touch, comfort, closeness, to hide the one thing I was ashamed of, my own vulnerability. The danger wasn't an empty bed. The danger was that the silence I built became a wall, and on the other side of that wall, Eleanor was building her own story. She thought my distance meant I found her broken, undesirable, a burden. We were both so wrong, and the cost was nearly everything. That taught me what love actually requires. It doesn't require strength. It requires showing up. It requires the humility to say, I'm scared too, and the courage to reach out a trembling hand anyway. Love in the later chapters isn't about grand passion. It's about stubborn presence. It's the hand on the knee during a painful car ride. It's the head on the shoulder during physical therapy. It's sweeping up the broken mug together, even if your hands shake. The connection isn't in the flawless performance. It's in the shared, shaky reality of two aging bodies navigating the same fear. So here's my advice. For anyone who hears their own quiet setting in, don't make my mistake. Don't perform. Just be there. Start tonight. It doesn't have to be a big thing. In fact, it shouldn't be. Don't try to fix it all at once. Just make one deliberate contact. Put your hand over theirs while you watch TV. Let your foot touch theirs under the table. When you get into bed, that vast, cold space, just say, "Can I hold you for a minute?" That's it. You're not promising fireworks. You're just proving you're still in the room. You have to touch through the fear. Not because you are strong, but because you are together. The goal isn't to go back to what was. That's gone. The goal is to build something new with what you have left. And you have more left than you think. You still have time. Maybe not decades, maybe not even years, but you have now. And now is enough. This isn't about turning back the clock. It's about refusing to let the clock steal what's left. The hope isn't that you'll be young again. The hope is that you can still be found again by each other in the middle of the mess. It's work. It's clumsy. Some days you'll forget, and the old silence will try to creep back in. But you can choose, again the next day, to reach out. That choice is the antidote to the poison. If this story echoes in your life, even a little, then do something with that feeling. Don't just let it sit. First, if you're watching this, subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. These conversations are too important to miss. I never thought I'd be talking about this into a camera, but if my stumble can help someone else steady themselves, then every bit of this was worth it. Second, give this video a like. It tells the algorithm to show it to others who might be trapped in their own quiet, who need to hear that the wall can be dismantled, one touch at a time. Third, and this is the most important, leave a comment. Tell me one small way you've chosen to connect recently, or one memory of touch that you hold on to. Your story might be the spark for someone else. Share this video with someone, your partner, a friend, a sibling. Don't send it with a big speech. Just say, "This made me think of us." That's all. The quiet is the real enemy. Don't negotiate with it. Don't make a home in it. Break it however you can. Tonight, when the house is still, let your hand find theirs in the dark. That's the only answer that matters. The rest is just noise.